Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Monday's edition of PreMarketInfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, after Friday's rally there on the close, we're pretty much unchanged.
Yeah, we've been pretty quiet here in the even in the after hours session and here in the morning. It's been trading flat for most of the morning. One big merger we'll talk about on the Market Movers show, but other than that, it's been a pretty quiet morning.
Okay, moving on to the Big Ten, which we do have a slight change in, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. S&P's made an overnight high of 1242.75. If that stands as the high of the day, we have a downside target of 1212.75. Globex low currently stands 1226.75, just a half a point above the daily pivot, which is 1226.25. If that stands as the low of the day, we have an upside target way up at 1256.75, which is real close to that August 4th high at 1258.50. Just kind of meandering around unchanged here, which was also the highest close we have for the week and the weekly high. So this 1235 number is going to be a great swing number early in the session. Moving on to the Big Ten, Dennis, we got a new number one, and I know they announced it on CNBC a while ago, but it's not official until I see it on the S&P website. Apple Computer, number one now in the Big Ten. Had them close at $392.87, currently trading up $3.50 from there. We finally got to test that $390 level just a little bit. Made a Friday weekly low at $390.75 with the close at $92.87. Dennis, I don't see a whole heck of a lot in this market back up to the $400 area.
Yeah, we talked about this 390 level. Obviously, that seems to have held on Friday, 390.75 being the low. Not liking the relative strength on it, though. I mean, this morning it's okay. We're up $3 here, but obviously Friday, Apple was down the majority of the session, obviously closing down as well. But yeah, you're right. There isn't a heck of a lot up to that 400 area with 396 right now, so wouldn't be surprised if you're seeing some resistance at 400 once again.
Okay, falling to number two in the Big Ten, ExxonMobil. Nice Friday and weekly high here, 80.16, settling at 80.13. Currently trading a little bit below that area, so that's going to be good resistance the first time up. Above that, 81.18 was our high back on August 1st, if you can remember back that far. Coming back on the downside, you have the old Thursday high, Friday low formation there, 79.11, 79.18. So can't really look for a breakdown to ExxonMobil until we get below that $79 level.
Interesting chart. Obviously 2 weeks ago we broke out above that 75. It's been this slow, steady climb here, Joel. Just a nice trend, slow, steady climb. Obviously, I'd look at that trend, and basically be buying the words when it pulls back to that trend, which would probably be in the 79 area now. I think, it's a little overextended here, so, pullback wouldn't surprise me. But really looking at resistance, Joel, there ain't a heck of a lot going up either, like you talked about the 81 area, but, really on the charts, it's kind of open here. So I think the $80 will still be a psychological swing number, though.
Okay, IBM, kind of shrugged off the disappointing earnings, broke out of that 179 area on Friday, made a high 181.67, with a close at 81.63. That's the highest it's traded, since the earnings announcement. Currently trading slightly above that level, so if you're going to try along at the close or Friday's high, I'd have a tight stop in because I don't see a whole heck of a lot of support in there after that till Friday's low at 178.75. Coming back on the upside, you had Wednesday's close before the announcement of the earnings, 185.65. So draw a line in the sand there and call that major resistance.
Yeah, and there ain't a heck of a lot in between there because we got that gap from the earnings play. So, really in no man's land when you're trading the 182, 183, there's literally nothing in there because there's a gap. So definitely I'd say up at that 185 area, that's probably your first level resistance. And on the pullback, we talked about this 180. It held as resistance for a couple of sessions. So trading above there, obviously on Friday, I think if it pulls back into that 180, you'll probably find a few buyers there as well.
Okay, moving up a few spots in the Big Ten, Mr. Softy. Let's just reiterate that $27.50 level. That's the quadruple top with another high at $27.34. Someone's definitely making a stand here at that level. Above there, we'll look for the July 25th high at $28.15. Coming back on the downside, minor support there at Friday's low, $26.80. But the real good support comes in at the $26.40 level, which was the Thursday and weekly low.
Yeah, on resistance, we've talked about that area so many times. I don't even need to mention that 27.40 to 27.50 area, but we're 25 cents away from there. Pulling back, I think I agree. You see 26.5 maybe. There'll be a little bit more volatility on the second day after the earnings report, so there could be a little bit of volatility. I'd still keep an eye. Eventually, you'll start to see Microsoft follow Apple again. The last couple of sessions, obviously, is trading on its own fundamentals, but eventually here, I think it starts to follow Apple again.
Okay, following a few spots in the Big Ten, Chevron Corporation marched up on Friday to make the old Friday weekly high trick, 105.84 with a 53 close. Currently trading right in between those two levels. So 105.84 all the way up to this 106.13 level should be good resistance. After that, you have some highs back in July at 107 and 108.47. Coming back on the downside, Friday's low will be support. You have a gap down to Thursday's high. But if you are, trying to, buy those levels with this stock, with the run up that it's had, I suggest using tight stops.
Unbelievable run up, really. If you look at the last 3 weeks, this was trading down at 80, in the high 80s, 86, 87 bucks there, Joel. Just at the beginning of this month, we're at 105.5. So, trading 105.70 here in the pre-market. Heck of a run. Obviously, we're going to be coming into major resistance if we get up to that 110 area. So, I'm kind of drooling at the opportunity to possibly short it up there on that huge 109.94 to 110 area. But we're $4 away from there. I see a little size of 106. I think it'll start to, get some resistance as we approach that level, though.
Okay, J&J just quietly rallied yesterday. Friday's low should serve as good support, 62.89. We have a 63.78 close with an 84 high. Currently trading above that level. We have the old triple top and weekly high there at 64.74. And is that seller still looming at the $65 level?
Yeah, he's there forever. So, if we were to get up to 65, there's a couple 100,000 share blocker there, and also a bunch of high frequency guys that like to lean on him. So, again, 64.75 to 65, major resistance.
Our next stock, I had to do some work on this. Procter & Gamble just marched up on Friday, took out that big seller at 66, closing at 66.26 with a 30 high. People are liking this stock. Let's keep an eye on that 66.30 level. Through there, I'm looking at 67. And then you have the May 20th high of 67.60. Coming back on the downside, you do have a little bit of a gap there between 65.28 and 65.47. So let's just call that 65.35 before that level needs to be taken out before you start looking for a little bit of a pullback in that stock.
I'm going to limit my comments here on Procter & Gamble today because I do have a small trading position in there, Joel.
Okay, AT&T, 5 of 6 highs, 29.35 to 29.43. Just can't get through there. Above that level with some momentum, we could easily see that August 31st high of 29.90. Coming back on the downside, 28.93 held on Friday. It'll be good support. Below that, look for the weekly low of 28.63.
Yeah, not much to say. This is really kind of just tightened right up here. Just looking at the last 2 months, you could say, that we've got a nice bottom. I almost kind of see that cup and handle starting to form. The handle, we're just been trading here in this 29 area. You wonder if eventually we're going to go up and test that 30 on a little bit of a breakout. But it's hard to say. I'm still a buyer, in the probably 28.60, 28.70 area, and still a seller up in the 29.30s.
Okay, GE falling a few spots in the Big Ten, down to number 9. Took out that good support we had at the 16.20 area. Couldn't really get much below there. Only traded as low as 16.13 before rebounding 20 cents to close at 16.33. Friday's high should keep a lid on it this morning for at least the first time up, 16.53. If not, you got that weekly high at 16.98. Tuesdays and Wednesdays high is slightly below that. This thing's just kind of winding up, Dennis. We got any size at 17?
Yeah, 17 had some. Obviously, we can get up there, for 3 or 4 sessions ago when we were testing it, it just didn't quite take them out. So, yeah, there is some stuff up at 17. So it's 60 cents away. I don't know if it'll come into play today, but if it tries to make its way up there over the next couple days, I think that's an area where you will find some major resistance. And still, I like the 16. I don't see much down there, but it's a psychological support level. It was the resistance we had talked about for months. I think, you'll find some buyers still kicking around that 16 area.
Okay, in our number 10, replacing Pfizer, thank God, is Coca-Cola coming in the Big Ten. Friday weekly high, 68.32. Currently trading slightly above that level, so let's use that 68.19 as the close as our swing number. Below that, you can easily see Friday's low, 67.46, which was slightly below Thursday's high at 67.58. Going on the back on the upside, you have some highs back in September at that stock at 69.10 and 69.64.
Nice to have a new Big Ten stock. Pfizer was kind of boring there, Joel. It seems like every day we just talked about 19 in Pfizer. At least Coke, it moves a little bit more. We got a 68 low beta stock, but it is a $68 stock, so it should move around a little bit more from at least a pricing perspective. First time looking at this chart here in a while. I'd say 68 overall. It looks like a decent swing number. You start to break up above 68.5 here, and I like, it starts to open up a bit and not. But $70 is where I would say there's major resistance over the next couple sessions if we're to drift up there.
Okay, folks, just meandering around unchanged here, 1235.75. So this I don't know how you play it. This 1235 level is going to be our good swing number this morning. If we can hold, we'll make a run at the Globex high at 1242.75. We are going to take a quick break, get a word in from our sponsors, and be back with many of our market movers.